An artificial insemination program is an investment in the future of your herd. Following proper procedures is critical to achieving that return on your investment. Accurate and efficient heat detection can help you maximize AI performance and boost the profitability of your dairy or ranch. Unfortunately, heat detection can easily get pushed to the bottom of the to-do list, or it never makes the list at all. In fact, estimates based on DHI information place the level of detected heats at 50%. Said another way, 1 of every 2 heats goes unnoticed. While those numbers are startling, there are some things you can do to help make heat detection more accurate. During this video, we will cover those things, focusing on the cow's estrus cycle and the changes she goes through during her heat cycle. We will discuss the primary and secondary signs of heat, concentrating specifically on the secondary signs of heat for those difficult cows that are hard to catch in standing heat. We'll discuss observation methods and detection aids to help you more easily identify the correct cows in heat. We'll also discuss when to inseminate the cow so she is most likely to conceive. The goal of heat detection is to combine a healthy egg with sperm from a genetically superior sire to produce offspring. Cycling cows typically have an estrus cycle ranging from 18 to 24 days. Not all cows will cycle alike, but most will average about 21 days. During the estrus cycle, ovulation occurs about every 20 to 21 days in the open cow. Ovulation is the release of the egg from a dominant follicle on a cow's ovary. After each ovulation, a corpus luteum, otherwise known as a yellow body, develops on the ovary in the cavity previously occupied by the follicle. The corpus luteum produces progesterone, the hormone that supports pregnancy. After approximately 17 days, if the cow is not pregnant, the corpus luteum regresses and a dominant follicle develops. As the dominant follicle develops and the egg matures, the follicle produces estrogen. As estrogen increases, progesterone levels drop. It is at this time, about day 20 in the cycle, that the cow will show estrus behavior. Estrus behavior can be divided into 2 parts, preheat and standing heat. During preheat, you will notice many basic physical and behavioral changes. You may notice that the vulva of the animal begins to appear red and swollen as the blood flow to the reproductive organs increases. You may also notice a clear mucus discharge from the vulva. The cow may appear sweaty from increased activity, and some animals will pace the fence line. Most will walk 2 to 3 times more than normal. You may see chin rubbing and flank licking during preheat. Cows in heat also tend to group together. A cow in preheat may mount other cows, but will not allow other cows to mount her. When a cow enters standing heat, she will now allow other cows to mount her. Allowing herself to be mounted by other cows shows she is receptive to being bred. Only those cows that remain standing when mounted by other cows are in actual heat. All other behavioral changes normally associated with heat are considered secondary. Cows in standing heat usually exhibit all of the preheat signs as well as standing to be mounted. A cow in standing heat may also exhibit other secondary signs, including tailhead hair that is roughed up or rubbed off, and dirty flanks and sides, all due to mounting activity. About 12 to 18 hours after standing heat ends, ovulation occurs. The egg is released from the follicle and is now receptive to sperm. 1 to 3 days after heat, many cows will exhibit a bloody discharge. This discharge is a good indication that ovulation has taken place and should be recorded. Heat detection is observing the changes a cow goes through in her estrus cycle to determine the best time to breed. The basic method of heat detection is visual observation. Visual observation is where you select 2 or more periods during your day to look for cows in heat. In order to get the best results from visual observation, you must take sufficient time to observe animals for heat, and only to observe animals for heat. Visual observation cannot be satisfactorily performed while doing other chores. It is best to take a minimum of 20 to 30 minutes early in the morning and late in the evening to check for heats. Why early and late? Because 70% of heat activity occurs between 7 p.m. and 7 a.m. So we need to be observing cows when they are most active. How long a cow actually stands for mounting is a critical factor in effective heat detection. The average duration of true estrus or standing heat is 10 to 20 hours. Of course, this is quite variable. Studies have shown that about 30% of cows will have heats less than 12 hours in length. The number of times a cow will stand to be mounted during standing heat is often quite variable as well. It can depend on the size of the cow, footing, weather, the production level of the cow, and the number of other cows that are in heat at the same time. Some cows may only stand to be ridden once, while other cows may stand to be ridden numerous times. Also consider that most standing events only last several seconds. When we combine the high percentage of estrus activity occurring during nighttime hours with a significant percentage of cows having heats that last less than 12 hours with few standing events, then you can see where a major problem to heat detection lies. Herdsmen often observe a high percentage of heats that begin during normal working hours, but tend to miss cows that come into heat during the night and only show heat for a short period of time. Because of this, it is critical to recognize the preheat signs. Inseminating cows not in heat and not observing cows in heat are the 2 most common and costly heat detection errors. It is important for producers to provide the proper environment for cattle to interact. This makes heat detection easier. Cows show a preference for certain locations for exhibiting estrus behavior. More mounts will be observed when cows are standing on softer surfaces for longer periods of time. Dry areas are preferred over wet. Slippery concrete and muddy areas discourage mounting activity. Providing exercise areas with good footing can increase estrus activity in your herd and your opportunities to observe it. But don't be fooled. False mounting activity can increase in cattle that are being moved, held in small areas, or being fed. In most of these situations, the animal being mounted has no route to escape. Do not falsely identify her as being in heat. Even the status of the mounting animal should be questioned. Be sure to observe for heat under appropriate conditions. Studies have shown that cows in heat or approaching heat tend to congregate together, forming sexually active groups. The animals remain in these groups from preheat through standing heat and leave the group when they go out of heat. Knowing this, you should identify not only the cows in heat, but the others associated with them. One good rule of thumb is to make identification easy. Use a highly visible identification system. Ear tags, neck chain tags, or freeze brands work well. If you need to identify cows from a distance, use a livestock paint stick and write the cow's ID number on each hip. Orange and yellow are good color choices. This can be done on all open cows shortly after calving. If you are doing a thorough job of heat detection, there will be too much information to try to remember, so make sure to use a notebook and write it down. Remember to record all heats observed. Record the date and time standing heat was detected. Record the bleed-off date and record when her next heat is expected. Even record early heats for cows 15 to 20 days after calving, as these heats provide you with important benchmarks to determine when cows should be coming in heat again. Remember to not only record the cow you see in heat, but also the cows showing preheat signs such as mounting, licking, chin rubbing, and bawling or bellowing. Mark these cows down and check them next time. From your notebook, then transfer your notes to a permanent record like a calendar, heat expectancy chart, or computer program. By keeping accurate records, you can more easily establish the reproductive cycle of individual cows. Also, set goals for your heat detection program and stick to them. Goals like detecting estrus within 50 days after calving or breeding heifers before they are 13 months old makes heat detection pay. Ovulation occurs 25 to 30 hours after the beginning of standing heat. To increase the chance for pregnancy, viable sperm should be at the site of fertilization awaiting the arrival of the freshly ovulated egg. Before sperm are capable of fertilizing the egg, they must be in the reproductive tract at least 6 hours and go through a process called capacitation. This brings us to the question of when is the best time to inseminate a cow in heat. The more accurately you can detect the beginning of standing heat, the better you can time insemination. For a long time, the basic rule for timing of insemination was the AM/PM rule. The AM/PM rule says that cows should be inseminated 6 to 12 hours after the onset of estrus. Put simply, if you observe a cow in heat in the morning, you should breed her that evening, and if you see a cow in heat in the evening, you should breed her the next morning. Numerous studies have looked at the AM/PM rule. These studies have shown that if you know the exact time the cow came in heat, the AM/PM rule is a good guide for timing of insemination. However, for most producers, it is not feasible to continuously observe for heats. Therefore, you don't know the exact time a cow enters standing estrus. These studies show that you will get nearly equal conception results if you breed the cow any time from her first standing event to 24 hours after the beginning of standing heat, with conception rates dropping dramatically if insemination occurs after 24 hours. When strictly following the AM/PM rule, the first time you observe a cow in standing heat might be at the end of her standing heat. If you waited 12 hours later to breed this cow, then you may actually be waiting more than 24 hours after the onset of standing heat and decreasing your chance for a pregnancy. When in doubt about the beginning of standing heat, it is better to breed early rather than late during estrus. Since the ultimate goal of AI is to create a pregnancy, sperm should be introduced into the reproductive tract, capacitate, and be ready to fertilize the freshly ovulated egg. Sperm cells can live in the reproductive tract of a healthy cow for up to 24 to 36 hours. However, the freshly ovulated egg is only fertile for a short window of time. When using visual observation, heat detection aids can be helpful. Combining heat detection aids with good visual observation skills can significantly improve your heat detection rate. Several heat detection aids are available. We will share some of the more common aids. Tail paint is a commonly used heat detection aid. Brush-on paint or spray paint, like Reveal livestock markers, can serve as an accurate aid. The paint is applied in a 2 by 6 inch strip on an animal's tail head. The paint is then removed by the mounting action of other animals, letting you know when the animal is in heat. Reveal lasts for 7 to 10 days with minimal touch-ups, depending on conditions. For best application of the brush-on paint, rinse out the brush applicator between uses for better paint flow. Also, a small amount of paint goes a long way. The Estrotect breeding indicator is a self-adhesive, friction-activated heat detection aid. Apply the patch to the animal's tailhead before standing heat or initiation of a synchronization protocol. When cows are mounted during standing heat, the scratch-off surface of the indicator is rubbed off, exposing the fluorescent layer underneath. The Estrotect breeding indicator, which is available in several color options, allows for easy application and accurate heat detection when paired with visual observation for secondary signs of heat. Another useful heat detection aid is a herd monitoring system. These systems utilize collars, leg bands, or ear tags to collect health, rumination activity, and/or movement data. Most herd monitoring systems compare a cow's movements to her normal movement level, or baseline, to determine the optimal insemination window for the animal. While many of today's electronic monitoring systems are very accurate, take time to check questionable cows. Look for secondary signs of heat. These systems provide the opportunity to detect a larger percentage of natural heats with considerably less hormone use, and many systems can send automatic alerts via email or text to farm employees or inseminators. For more information on improving reproductive efficiency through herd monitoring systems, contact your GENEX representative. Again, no matter which heat detection aid you choose, check for secondary signs of heat too. Coupling secondary signs of heat along with heat detection aids increases your chances for accurate heat detection. Proper heat detection will improve the breeding efficiency of your herd and make your operation more profitable. Remember the 3 keys to successful heat detection. First, know the signs of heat. Second, take the time to accurately detect heat. And finally, heat detect at the correct time. Establish specific protocols for your farm's heat detection and make sure everyone knows the importance of heat detection. If you have any questions about the topics in this video, please contact your local GENEX representative. They will be able to provide powerful information on implementing a heat detection program. Good luck!